Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how to remove a valve, oil it, and put it back in. For this video, you're going to need a soft, light cloth and your valve oil. If you don't have a soft, light cloth, you can use a tissue or a piece of paper towel. So first, we're going to take this step by step, and we're going to do one tiny step at a time. So be patient and go through this. And if you do that, you'll have a much better understanding of this instrument and how to take care of it. Step one is unscrew the valve. Step two is pull the valve out halfway. Make sure you pull the valve exactly out and you do not turn it on its way out. Step three is look at the valve and lift the cap. Near the top of your valve, right here, there's a thin piece of plastic that gathers to a point. I'm going to take my valve out to show you what that looks like. I'm talking about this white plastic part that gathers to a pointed tip, right? Notice how that pointed tip fits into a tiny slot in the casing, which is this part, that is perfectly shaped to that pointy tip. I'm going to show you what that slot looks like in mine. There it is. You can see a little part where the metal is cut out. That's the slot where the tip belongs, where the valve guide, this plastic tip, belongs. Okay. Now that you've examined your valve, you've seen how that plastic tip of the valve guide fits into the little metal slot of the casing, take out your valve. With your soft cloth or your tissue or your paper towel, lightly wipe off any residue that's on the valve. There might be some oil that's slightly greenish or slightly brownish or even a little darker, close to black or gray. Once you've removed all of that residue, take your valve oil and apply very little, just 2 or 3 drops along the top of it. Once you do that, place your valve back into the casing. Align the tip of your valve guide with the slot in your casing. If you do that, your valve should slide down. To check that you did it correctly, place your fingers on the button of the valve and gently try to wiggle it clockwise and counterclockwise. If it spins, that means that your valve is not in the right position. And you need to make sure that the tip of your valve guide is in that slot of the casing. If it doesn't move, that means that your valve is in the right position. And you can twist the valve cap closed. Once you do that, push the valve directly down and let it pop back up. Make sure that you're not accidentally pushing it to the side, because when you do that, you can actually make the valve stick. Right? Doing this spreads the oil evenly around the valve. If you notice that it's a little bit sticky, try try taking the valve out again and wiping off some of the oil. You may have put too much oil. If that doesn't work, you may not have put enough oil. So try putting a little more oil and put it in. And then just look at your instrument. If you're still having problems with it, look at your instrument and try and figure out what might be aligned wrong and try to fix that particular problem. If you run into any issues past that, have you or your parents send me a text or an email, however you can reach me, and I'll be happy to help you further. All right. Once you do that to your first valve, do that to all the others. If you'd like, oh, not if you'd like, but now I'm going to show you how to check to make sure that you put all the valves back in correctly. We're going to do a little test. First, don't press, keep all the valves up and blow air through your instrument. If that air moved freely through your instrument, then so far so good. If you got a block, you tried to blow but no air came out, that means that something in your valves is blocking some of these tubings, and you need to check that valve. You need to take that valve out and make sure that you put it in correctly. Next, we're going to test the individual valves. Press down your first valve and blow. You want air to move freely. If air is not moving through your horn, then that valve needs to be checked. You need to take it out and make sure that you put it in correctly again. Do that with each of your valves. If at any point air stops moving through your instrument, that means that one of the valves is in the wrong place and you need to take it back out and make sure you put it back in the right way. All right. That brings us to the end of how to take out your valves, oil them, and put them back in. During this time, maintenance of your instrument is really important. While we're playing a lot, we're also putting a lot of moisture through our instruments, because when we blow, our breath carries a tiny bit of condensation or moisture from the inside of our bodies into the air. And when we blow, those moisture particles also carry little tiny cells from the inside of your mouth. All of that stuff that travels with your air gets, well, it lands and collects throughout your instrument, especially in your valve area and in your tuning slides. I'm going to make another video for you on how to clean your instrument. So make sure you check that video out to make sure that you're keeping your instrument as clean as possible. The benefits there are twofold. Twofold. One is that it'll help keep you healthy, and two, it'll keep your instrument in good condition so that you can continue playing it easily.